Hi everybody, welcome back. Episode number 70 of the Nuts and Bolts esports show from Game on Oz. That's a little exciting. I always like when we get to round figures in numbers.
Oh, yeah, it's very satisfying. Very, very satisfying.
Yeah, I don't know. It always feels like a milestone, and it always feels something exciting. And it's something even there was only one thing better, I think, than because this is going to be our last show for the year. We're going to take a break over Christmas and New Year. But the only thing better, I think, we might have been finishing last week with episode 69.
Yes.
Unfortunately, the stars didn't quite align that way, but you know, episode 70 is a good number to finish on as well.
Yeah, maybe in a couple years we'll be able to line up episode 169 somewhere.
Maybe. Or I was going to say if we can go that far, but God, if we go that far, we're going to be very, very old doing this. 42069. That's yeah. I think that's going to be. No, yeah. I'm doing the math in my head now and going, no, that's a lot of weeks. I don't think we're going to get there.
No. 8 years?
8 years for 4,000. No, 40,000.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
40, sorry.
No,
yeah.
that's a lot of weeks. No.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I don't think that's going to happen. Maybe 420.
I thought you were just going for 420, not 4,000.
Oh no, and I was going for 42069. But yeah,
oh.
But 420 we could. Yeah, that's doable. We can do that. It's only a few years off.
Gotta keep goals attainable, all right?
That's right. Well, it's doable. We can just aim high for it, I think.
Yeah.
But yes, we are Game on Oz's esports show. And as is wont to happen at this time of year, things are quieting down a little bit. There's a few player movements in some teams around the places, but not a lot of that. But there has been a few things that have come up that we've looked at and gone, that's... I'm going to swear a lot in this episode because there are just some truly fucked up things that have happened recently. And the big one that sort of came to my attention through Twitter was a post by someone called Lulu Lovely. Not familiar with them themselves, but they were highlighting something that happened in Argentina in Valorant. So to put it nicely, I guess we gamers can be rather toxic sometimes. Like they will abuse, and just hurl insults, race-based, sex-based, gender-based, all sorts of insults. And it's not something it's something I'm definitely against and not proud of, but just seeing the level of that sometimes is just staggering. And this one in particular. So this was it was something that women in games in Argentina did. They took some male players, really good players, and put them in a Valorant match with other players. And they played, they were doing really well, had really good kill ratio. I think there was something like 15 kills, three deaths or something in the first bit. And then they put on a voice changer to make them sound like female. And all of a sudden, their teammates weren't supporting them. They went from that 15-3 to something like 16 deaths. And they were getting all sorts of abhorrent comments. And it was just like, looking at it, I just was, what the hell were these people thinking? Like, it's someone that was doing so well in the game, and then you just hear a female voice and you turn on them like that. What the hell is up with these turds? It incenses me. Like, why do you even need to do that? Everybody's there having fun. You're doing well, and then because you think someone's of a different gender than you start talking about raping them and all sorts of other really, really horrible stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I think we've spoken about this kind of stuff before with the differences in experiences you and I had in League. But I've had sexual assault threats. I've had guys tell me to go kill myself. Just people that you've never met before. You haven't done anything wrong other than have a female voice over voice comms. And I think potentially this kind of level of evidence is good because I think a lot of the time when it gets brought up, people say, oh, yeah, but, you know, everybody throws shit at each other, like what you were talking about before, that there's a lot of racial insults that get thrown around. And if somebody's playing bad, that, they'll get cop a lot of hate as well. But it is directly evident here.
Oh yeah.
The the pitch of someone's voice is all that it takes for a good player to go from being celebrated to having death threats thrown at them.
And it wasn't even like it didn't happen at the beginning of the game. Like he had his normal male voice for half of the game, and
Oh
then
no, they were separate games.
were they? Oh, okay.
Yeah, yeah,
Sorry.
yeah. It wasn't in the same game.
Oh,
Yeah,
sorry. I thought it was in the
yeah.
same game, but even still, it's ridiculous. And like I know you can. Some people will try and write this off and say, "Oh, yeah, Argentina, like it has a reputation for something," but it's not just there. Like there's a streamer I like to watch, Girl Jams, and she's got a bit of a filthy mouth, I'll say that, but she's very entertaining to watch. But she plays a lot of COD, and hearing some of the stuff that gets thrown her way, it's just like, what the hell? Like, and really, if stuff like this happens, games need to be more proactive in banning these people and taking these reports seriously. Like that's what I see is should come out of this. It's like there's no other way to describe it but abhorrent and just so distasteful. And I'll admit, I'm a bit guilty of it sometimes because I'm a middle-aged white man. Like lots of stuff is made for me. Like I come from a middle-class sort of a family as well, so like I haven't had the challenges that a lot of other people have had, or a lot of the roadblocks. But it kind of feels sometimes like, because it doesn't happen to you, it's like, oh, it's not so bad. But then you go and watch something like this, and it's, oh my god, it's so much worse sometimes than what you think it is. Well, what I think it is. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, no, this has definitely brought it into the, plain light of day. It's not just somebody saying it happened to them. It's very, very clear exactly what happened and the change just due to pitch.
yeah, yeah, and yeah, just there needs to be stronger moderation tools, I guess, in that. And like reading through some of the comments on the tweet, it's like there was one there, you go, oh, women can just use voice changes to make them sound male. I go, bullshit. They shouldn't need to do that. That's victim shaming, and it's just ridiculous. Yeah. So I could rant about this for a while because it really it's so stupid, and like and also the amount of clips that were shown in here from female streamers copying the same abuse. It's the fact that it happens so much, and that women have to deal with that. And first of all, I'm just so sorry that you have to deal with it. Like it really, yeah, you wouldn't walk up to somebody in the middle of the street and say this, but somehow it's okay to say on the internet. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, it's if you do want to dive deeper, it's been really like interesting seeing a lot of the female Twitch streamers, especially those that are, they're making a profession out of playing games online, and some of the strategies that they adapt to deal with these kinds of things. It could get quite amusing. I really just appreciate it though when a female streamer has something like this happen to them and there's another person in the lobby that just tells the other person to shut up.
Yeah.
And it's just, that's all it takes.
Mm.
Honestly, because it's usually not every guy in the lobby, and this might be some of the cultural things that people were talking about, where maybe in some cultures it might be every guy in the lobby, but my experience is there's one toxic turd in the lobby, and all it takes is one other person with a deeper pitched voice
Yeah.
to say, cut that shit out.
Yeah.
Or everybody just mutes them.
Mm.
But I agree with what you were saying before about, it would be nice if bans were managed better based on, reports that people put in were effectively dealt with, and that I know some of the gaming companies as well are starting to look at if another account gets created with the same IP, they won't let that account get
Yeah.
created. So they're doing more proactive steps. But yeah, it's been happening for a long time, and every little thing like this helps open the eyes of the people who are in the positions to make the decisions, but possibly is highlighting the fact that if you had more women in content moderation, maybe they would be more empowered to make change as well. So yeah, multifaceted issue, unfortunately.
Mm. Yeah, look, this is something we didn't talk about beforehand, but I feel like I've kind of dominated this conversation a little bit, and I'm wondering if it's because this is something that I don't deal with on such a frequent basis, and I'm outraged because of this clip and because I don't see it that often, and you're kind of more resigned to the fact that this happens and you don't know what you can do about it. Would that kind of be a little bit
Well,
correct?
we know, yeah, it's a lifetime, you know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Been playing Wolfenstein 3D, playing Wolfenstein with friends when I was in high school, and over voice comms and getting comments, and I'm
Mm-hmm.
like, just, I've always been kind of a healery more person, like I'm the person running around, like healing our team, keeping them alive, and they're all people I know and great. But as soon as we had a person that didn't know us in the lobby, it went to trash.
Mm-hmm.
So look, everybody's experience is going to be different, and I think these issues are systemic from a multitude of different directions. But something that's been more highlighted to me talking to indie game devs as well, they face a lot of issues in the industry, and other women working in game development as well. I just think that these issues haven't been raised at the higher levels because you don't have representation at the higher levels. And so it doesn't feel like it's an issue. Oh, yeah, we've got some female gamers saying this is a problem, but a lot of our society doesn't seem to change much until somebody's personally affected. And that's why when all the discussions around quotas come up, it gets a bit heated because in a meritocracy the right person should, or the most experienced person, or the person with the best skills should get the job. But that aspect about personal experience that somebody will bring to a role doesn't get considered, and I think it needs to be. And I could ramble on for a long time, but I am somewhat resigned in that it's certainly something that's been talked about for a long time, and we haven't seen change yet. And I hope that we do. I hope that we do
Mm-hmm.
soon.
It's interesting that you bring up representation there, because it's something that I spoke about when I went solo on last week. But there's an Overwatch League team that's looking to put together a group of non-male identifying people for a team, and so many of just people in, not just people in general, but female players have come out and said this is a terrible idea, because there there are some women that can compete in, or non-males that can compete at that level, but like if you have to make a team of all them, you've got to be pulling in some people that aren't quite their skills, and you're setting the team up to fail, and then people will hold up that team and go, this is, we can't have an all-women team because they're not as good. Look at this team that failed, and that. So
Yeah.
it is a real thing that quotas don't work like that. It's
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. I mean, every time this kind of stuff comes up, Invictus, they're all
Mm.
female League of Legends team that failed, lost
Mm.
every game in their season.
Well, didn't one of
Gets brought up.
the peak, the really good players in that, they quit after like a month because of the harassment that they got, and I think she ended up killing herself later on as well, or had
Oh
some
God.
huge issues stemming from it.
Yeah, it's you think just throwing together a female team is the answer, but I really think when you're talking about a group of people that start from behind already, because video games are for boys, and
Mm.
they don't jump on the computer as early as the boys do, and all of those, just those little things. That means when women are getting to the age when they're choosing what their hobbies are and they're playing games, that they are those steps behind. And how do you fix that?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah, and so I really like the idea of all female leagues, just giving women more opportunities to get more experience at competitive levels, to work out if it is something that they want to pursue more seriously. Certainly seen Just Goat promote a lot of women in games initiatives that I think are really positive steps in the right direction. But it's not a magic wand. Yeah, it's not throw together a all-female Overwatch team and expect them to do as well as people who have had a career in games from when they were 8. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. It's definitely a hard thing. And now that I've settled down a bit and put my more reasonable thinking hat on there and how we can solve this, it's not a straightforward thing. And yeah, we just have to make sure that there are pathways for female gamers that want to compete at that level to get there.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. I think it's just providing the opportunities for the people that want them. The idea of forcing people into it is not what we want either.
Yeah. So you've just been drafted, but I don't want to play this game.
Sorry, you can't be a rocket scientist. You've got too good hand-eye coordination. You must play Overwatch now.
Cool. Well, more sort of not as depressing, but still kind of depressing for OCE TFT fans. The group that has been running the Oceanic TFT esports for the last however many years have not been re-engaged by Riot to run it for 2023, and I think that's a bit sad. And I know you really love TFT, Natty.
Swifty especially. So he's the one that brought our attention to this, sharing on his socials. He's the one that's led the production of a lot of the TFT events, along with Tycoon, and I could name a few others as well, that have really supported TFT at the grassroots and worked to build their skills and experience in this area. And then, well, who knows? So I think this is the problem that we're both having with the situation. We don't know what Riot's doing at the moment. There's all these changes happening with League of Legends, a lot of instability with what's going on in our region at the moment with Riot supported games, and now throwing this in the mix. As a person who follows TFT, you wonder what they're planning, what they haven't announced yet, and it leaves you feeling very, very nervous and upset for these teams of people that have worked to develop their skills in this area and now having to look elsewhere.
Yeah, we were talking before the show because I kind of thought that maybe this is a consequence of what we're seeing with Riot Sydney coming back into the frame, but you quite rightly said that what they bought from Wargaming was the technical side of things, not like an organizational thing, which is kind of seen because the Wargaming staff that run the World of Tanks ANZPL are still with Wargaming and still doing that league, so they haven't taken that experience from running leagues and put it into Riot Sydney, which is kind of probably what you might expect to do if they were going to take running this back in-house again.
Yeah. It just feels so messy and unknown, and you really got to feel bad for the people that are caught in the middle of this. Who knows? Who knows what's coming? Riot does, maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe they'll share with us.
Maybe. But it's also like what happens with the LCO? Like at the moment, the top two from the LCO go through to the PCS now try and qualify for international events that way. But at some point, Riot going to turn around to ESL and Guinevere Capital and say, cool, well, we're taking the license back for that and we're running the competition again now. Like, you got to wonder that if they've done that for TFT and not actually announced anything, you know?
Yeah. Honestly, I don't know enough about how the TFT stuff was working. I know that it was running through Order, who unfortunately are no longer with us. Rip.
Yeah.
And so, you know, I always assumed that something like this would happen, but from my perspective, if you're right, you already have a functional production team that is supporting the league, and they're doing it not for a lot of money. Like, it's not like these guys are getting paid millions of dollars. You just keep that to continue to support it, and, you know, look at some transition if, you know, you've got a longer term strategy of you'd like it all to be managed by Riot. So do you bring these guys under the Riot umbrella, or do you, you know, look at pulling in some of your existing staff working on other Riot things? And, you know, so again, it's just the lack of information. We don't know what they're planning. We don't know what they're going to be doing. But I just hope that these guys that have been putting in all this work know that we love them and that we appreciate all that they've done,
for sure,
and that hopefully there's a place for them somewhere in the industry with the experience they have now.
I must admit, I had forgotten that Order was running a lot of the TFT stuff, so that kind of also puts a different light on it, being that and kind of makes me a little bit less worried about the LCO then as well.
Because that's not tied up in that bundle.
No, that's right. So, yeah, if Swifty and his team were running this as part of under the Order banner, and now because Order doesn't exist anymore, like Riot's deal might have been with Order, and because that doesn't exist anymore, these guys, So you're right. It's a we don't know thing, but it does make a little more sense now in that context. But honestly, that's the news that we kind of wanted to talk about this week. But given that it is our last show for 2022, I thought it'd be a good chance to have a chat about some memorable moments in esports from 2022.
It's been a huge year, hasn't it?
Oh, there's been so much going on. Like we already mentioned a couple of things, like the change to LCO's qualifying for international events having to be done through the PCS now, which is a step back for us. But, you know, if we get good scrub, then, you know, we potentially can send 2 teams to international events.
Yeah, that's the positive. I appreciate that.
Yeah. So look, and I look, it has the potential to make us better, because like one of the things that you hear players and coaches say is that you're only as good as the teams you play against. So sending 2 teams twice a year to the PCS and letting them compete there, I think it will make us better. And the downside to it is that there is quite a clear skill gap between the top teams in the LCO and the bottom teams in the LCO. Although that might change with 2
I was going to say 2 new teams. Yeah. I'm so excited for the season next year. There's so much possibility and interest. We were looking at it before with the rosters for the teams for next year, just like trying to work out what was happening, but there's still so much in the air and not confirmed yet. So we might have to wait till after Christmas, I think, to get
only 2 teams have really got players for them, and that's PGG, who have announced a few, and Chiefs as well. So and really that kind of, they're the top tier teams in the LCO, I feel. Peace and Rip Order were up there as well. But I feel like these are the teams that the Chiefs and PGG are the teams that will be the most dominant, and you can see in their organisation, and it is something that you don't think of a lot when you're watching a team, but the organization behind the scenes, if they're this organized and they've got their team nailed down now, they're thinking about split 1 2023.
Which is awesome that they're getting a bit of a head start, I think, by getting their announcements out of the way, getting the team settled in, and being able to get their practices together.
So I think it's going to be probably another pretty dominant year for the Chiefs and the and PGG. So we'll see how they go in split 1 next year. And of course, other things like we touched on there, Order's demise is a big one that happened in 2022, which sort of was a shock, and especially for the Order LCO team, because it happened the week before their game against PGG to get into the grand final. So, like, you got to imagine that did not sit well with the team.
Yeah, it's been really rocky, I think, as far as the I don't want to say giants, but the bigger teams in esports this year that have put a lot of money and investment into building their brands. We've seen a lot of them take a huge hit with us leading into a recession. Obviously, Order unfortunately not being able to be picked up due to financial mismanagement and other things that still have not yet come to light. But in general, the esports landscape has become a lot less certain this year, and certainly something to be looking out for. I think next year, as all economic indicators do not look positive as far as avoiding more of a decline and heading more into a recession. So the only silver lining there is looking to see how teams get creative. How are they going to fundraise next year? How are they going to get their advertising and marketing done and partnerships in a more sustainable way when there's not much money in the market?
Yeah, it's something we talked about a couple of times this year as well. Is especially when the downturn started to happen, is teams that had already been diversifying, and I feel like Order had tried that, like they'd branched out into like the event stuff with TFT and things like that, but I don't know, like, but yeah, there was some stupid high figure that they were losing every month. I almost want to say it was 3 million every month they were losing at the end.
I can't remember the reporting. It was insane.
But you get other teams like that have become holding companies as well, so that they've bought other companies so that can fund their stuff, and it's a little bit similar. And I don't think I'm giving too much away here about what's happening with the Three Little Pixels cloud gaming platform and Game on Oz that's happening there. So one company will fund stuff that another one is doing. So it's an interesting thing, but because esports is still so small in Australia and it's such a low margin business, it's so hard to actually do that sort of thing and diversify. I think PGG succeeds because they've got the power of Pentanet behind them. Pentanet's an ISP in Perth, Western Australia, and they've got the money from that to be able to back. Like, the story, for those that haven't heard, the story of Pentanet is a guy started it because he wanted better internet so he could play League. That's basically it, Yeah. And so he ran around his neighborhood getting people to sign up and built his own network to be able to do this. So it's and so they've obviously got the interest in it, but getting other companies interested in things that are going to cost them hundreds of thousands of dollars, if not millions of dollars to run, it's a very hard proposition, especially with the economy in a state like this.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So what's some things that you remember from 2022? Memorable moments from 2022.
Look, I mean, I think in esports in general, it was such a momentous occasion when you and I got to meet.
Oh my God, how good was that? Oh.
And getting to do the podcast live at Fortress Melbourne, that was so amazing. Um, and then our PAX Adventures too. So yeah, getting
Mhm.
to see the StarCraft 2 finals and getting to see, Greyhound Gaming at the ESL stage,
Mhm.
pass through. It was just getting to see LAN events coming back to Australia in such a big way this year. A massive highlight for me, and yeah, getting to PAX and seeing a few events and getting to catch up with you,
It,
definitely huge
yeah.
highlight.
Yeah, the live LAN events are just so good, and just like
Mm.
the crowd atmosphere of it. Because I also got to season four. Yes, because five just happened, so it's four.
Yes,
Season
four.
four of
Yeah.
the World of Tanks ANZ PL Grand Final at Fortress Melbourne as well, and it's the first time I'd been to Fortress Melbourne, which is an amazing live venue, not just for gaming but esports. Like their stadium is just love it, absolutely love it.
Yeah.
Um, and seeing the World of Tanks one as well. Like I was mainly there on my own, but everybody was just there willing to have a chat and like you'd talk about the game and what was going on and just have a laugh. It was just so much fun. And even at PAX that was away as well. Like I was sitting there watching StarCraft 2, and just talking to a random person next to me about the game and whatnot. It's just live esports hits different. Yeah.
A billion percent.
And of course, on the live esports front as well, we got to have a dream hack this year.
We
Yeah.
did. DreamHack was here.
Oh,
It was
oh,
amazing.
I can't wait. I'm already planning because they announced dates well, probably a couple of month ago, 2 months ago for DreamHack 2023, which is the 28th to the 30th of April. And I've just realised that that's very close to Anzac Day. So I think you because that's the 25th. So if you do, oh, it's still
Oh,
three. It's still
you're working out your holidays?
Yeah, I am. Like, 'cause I get my annual leave back on the 1st of January, and I think I've said before my long service leave comes due about halfway through next year, and I can take that per day. So, like, I'm planning all these trips. I'm sitting
Oh,
there going
excellent.
in my head, like, because we were talking about it in the Game on Oz staff Discord, because there's the Game Expo that's just popped up, and we're going, oh, who's going to that? And you go, I'd really like to, but it's like mid-March and I'm already planning a trip for the end of April back to Melbourne, and it's going to be a very expensive year with all these trips to Melbourne.
Yeah, you might need to invest in like a diamond, what is it? Diamond, membership to one of
Yeah,
the airlines to try and get to cheaper
well,
flights
that's
and
it. Or maybe just ask mum and dad if they can use some more of their frequent flyer points to fly me over business class again. No, no. Sorry, I joke because that's like when I bought my tickets to PAX, like they had a thing that share this, win a PlayStation 5, which I didn't win the PlayStation 5 by the way, and I'm pretty disappointed at that.
oh,
But I shared it on Facebook and whatnot, and mum and dad saw it and went, "Oh yeah, cool. Do you want to see?" Because they were jet setters, like they would go on holidays everywhere, and retiring has only fueled that more for them. So they had, and like they linked their credit cards in and get a crap ton of frequent flyer points. And they said, "Oh, do you want us to pay for your flights?" And I'm sitting there going, "Oh yeah, economy flight, that's cool. I'm loving that." And then they send me the tickets, and they go, "Oh, we upgraded you to business class." I went, "Thanks. This," and just quietly, business class is amazing, and I will probably never fly it again, but it is just so good. Um, but anyway, where was I going with that? Oh yeah,
uh,
flying over to
yeah,
Melbourne
yeah.
lots of
Planning your
times this year.
holidays.
Yeah. So I'm going to start saving now. Or maybe just increase the limit on my credit card. No, don't do that. That's a
Ah,
bad
no, don't
idea.
do that.
No, no,
Esports is wonderful, but no, I don't know if you could say it's worth going into debt for.
no, probably not. But it might be, and that's the thing. But yeah, DreamHack next year. I think I'm gonna try and plan a trip to Melbourne to see at least one of the ANZPL Grand Finals again, and of course PAX sometime in October next year. I'm gonna guess, and so
Yeah,
got to
yeah,
go back for another PAX. I reckon. Pop
yeah,
the cherry with that first PAX this year, and I absolutely loved it.
yeah.
Although
Amazing
now
fun.
that I know it, I'm definitely going to plan a little bit better. Yeah.
I don't think that you can ever fully explain to somebody like what the PAX going experience is like, because you'll say to people, oh yeah, take a bottle of water so you don't have to pay like $6 for a bottle of water, and they're like, eh, it'll be fine, and then they end up spending like
Yeah.
hundreds of dollars just to feed themselves, and like, oh yeah.
Yeah.
Wear sneakers.
Oh my God.
The amount of people that don't listen to you when you tell them to wear sneakers.
Nah, definitely wear sneakers. Be comfortable. You're doing a lot of walking over that weekend. But yeah, it was so much fun. And I can't wait to get that back. But I think there's one more event from 2022 as well that I just absolutely loved. Probably a lot because I saw it with a group of people as well, but it was the world's grand final between T1 and Deft, and just that 5-game banger that just, it was so good.
Oh yeah, DRX.
DRX, sorry. What did I? Deft's the player.
That's all right.
Sorry.
Deft plays for them. It all counts.
Not anymore.
Oh, just the storylines leading into that were just so amazing. The fact that it went to a 5-game series was just huge. All coming down to that nail biter finish where Faker tried for the sneaky attack at the other guy's base, but just couldn't pull it off.
Too. Oh my God.
Yes, just. Yeah. It was brilliant.
Yeah, it was just so fun. And like I was excited as well because there's an organization that do lots of pop culture parties and whatnot here in Perth, called Respawn, and they got in with a bar and opened early in the morning, and there was just such a really good crowd of people watching it. Like there must have been 30 or 40 people in this little bar watching esports in the morning, and it was just so good to see and have a chat, and a few faces that I recognized, and yeah, it was just really good fun. And
yeah.
So here's to more esports broadcasts in pubs, please.
Yes.
Use sports bars everywhere. Just have it on a screen somewhere, please, and I will come and watch it.
Yeah, I think I might need to lobby Adelaide Casino again. Every now and then I try.
Yeah. But I think that's about it. That's almost a wrap on 2022 for us, Natty.
It is. It's been an amazing year. Thank you so much, my wonderful co-host. It's been fabulous.
I've enjoyed talking to you about esports every week and just waxing poetic a little bit sometimes about what's going on and enduring some of my more wilder speculations.
Oh, look, we love it. It's what we're here for.
But
if we knew everything, it'd be boring.
That's it. You got to dream big sometimes.
Yeah.
But thank you to everybody for watching, whether it's live on twitch.tv/GameOnOz or listening through your various podcast mediums. It's been really great to be chatting with you guys and just talking esports in general. And we hope you've had an absolutely banger 2022 and looking forward to 2023 and what that holds for us. So thank you, and we'll see you next year.